lower decks now in my head. Okie dokie. Dun, 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 dun,
Dun,
dun,
dun,
dun,
dun,
dun,
dun,
dun,
dun,
dun,
dun,
dun.
dun.
Why, hello, and welcome to issue 751 of Geek in the City Radio. I am Aron Duran,
I'm one of your other hosts, Binarita.
And I'm your other host, Cable Hashitani.
and we've
And
got
and I'm one of the special hosts, Anastasia Elfman.
Yay, howdy.
Yay!
Welcome back, everyone.
Yeah, I know. I've been out for at least a month because I think the last time when we had Anastasia on, I was sick.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, it has
You-
been a
you
rough,
didn't make
like,
it
it has
last
been a
time.
rough late autumn, early winter for me, like on the health front. It's not any fun. But you can also tell by my dulcet tones that I'm getting away from something again.
Well, there's like
Three
three.
three COVID tests, multiple checks, people that were around me before I started feeling sick are all great, so I feel good.
Aside from COVID, there's like three other things going around Portland right now, so it's fine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's flu season, RSV, bird
And
flu,
Norovirus.
Norovirus.
virus. That's right.
That's the one that makes
Bleach
it
your surfaces.
black. Yeah. Well, we don't have bird flu here yet.
Yet.
Just wait.
Just you wait.
Great.
This is
That's the one downside to being a coastal elite. We get
They
all
come to
those
us,
we get all
right?
those global viruses first.
I mean, it depends from what end they come from. You know, if they're coming from like Europe, coastal elites. Behold my coastal
Well, the-
eliteness. I'm just assuming the West Coast is the only one that matters.
West Coast, West Coast.
Mhm.
Right? Oh, man, I'm too old to throw gang signs.
Yes.
Know that I did it in my heart. I was West Side for life in my heart. Uh, so yeah, and this is all true. Everyone had good holidays and whatnot and stuff.
Survived.
A lot
I
of
mean,
rests.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like you spent most of the holidays just like on the road. I feel like every post of yours was like this festival and that festival.
Yes, we're still going with festivals for our films, and yeah, it's just busy, busy, busy. I guess no rest for the wicked.
Right. And congrats on your Fangoria award.
Oh, I don't think we have a Fangoria
Well,
award.
maybe I just saw them retweet your award.
Oh,
Or not
maybe.
retweet.
We got something with Rue Morgue.
I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
That's
I
what I'm
mean,
confusing it
I'll
with.
I'll take it.
Right,
But I don't
Rue Morgue,
want to
sorry.
offend anyone. But yeah, so we're heading out to North Carolina on Thursday for Friday and Saturday screening events and shows, and it's gonna be crazy with Mightier Than the Sword Film Festival. So I'm producing a live pre-show event virtually from at home, and so I've been doing that through the whole holidays.
Nice. That's very cool.
Yes.
Self-promotion doesn't understand holidays at all.
No.
It doesn't hate
No.
holidays.
Not
No.
one bit.
That's okay. I love what I do, so this is fun.
It always looks like you're having a great time. I'm kind of jealous of that.
Yeah. Who needs sleep?
Everybody.
I mean, probably everybody.
Except
but,
me.
You're like, ew, sleeping's gross.
My goal is just to become like full goblin mode, so I'm like halfway there.
Fantastic.
Nice.
Well, as always, when we have you on, it's because we're doing a deep dive in one of your favorite films, whether they're super popular or not maybe well known or a cult classic. And this year,
Well, the first of this
for the
year.
first,
Well,
you're going to be talking about the 2001 black comedy Monkeybone, starring Brendan Fraser and Bridget Fonda. Hey, you know one of them.
I do.
We
I
won't go into a
do.
whole lot, but hey, you know one of them.
Every film discussion with a like a preemptive, these are all your connections.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So I guess Bridget's my sister-in-law, so that's fun. And it's her birthday month on the 27th of
So happy
January.
birthday,
So
Bridget.
Happy birthday.
kind of wanted to pick this one as the first one for this year. And thank you for letting me. It's
Oh,
it's
yeah.
it's a pretty wild film. Have you guys watched it before, or was this the first watch?
I had not seen it before. I think
I
both
saw
of
it
you
in the
had seen it?
theater. I went to the theater to go watch this movie when it came out. And I'm trying to remember what the draw was. I feel like it was as much Brendan Fraser as it was Henry Selick.
It was,
Because
yeah, go ahead.
yeah, because as much as everyone went, oh, it's Tim Burton's Nightmare Before Christmas, it's like, yeah, but Henry Selick directed it, which most people glossed over.
Right, because Nightmare Before Christmas was what, 93, 94?
90.
I think it's
I was
closer to
still in high-
91,
I
92.
think I was still in high school, so
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like 93, I think.
yeah.
Okay.
No, I was with cable. In fact, up until
93.
yesterday evening, I haven't seen Monkeybone since the theatrical.
I hadn't either.
And I think I saw it for similar reasons. Like I loved even, I mean, I loved animation, I loved stop motion animation.
I did get the question of is when I was talking to Merrick about this. She's like, "Did you watch it for the same reason everyone else did?" I'm like, "What was the reason?" Rose McGowan. I'm sure. Like I was in my early 20s. I'm sure that had something to do with it.
Right. It wasn't a mark against it
Yeah,
for
no,
sure.
I'm sure that Bridget Fonda and Rose McGowan were very much a draw to that movie as much as anything else.
Yeah, I could see that. I think for me it was Brendan Fraser.
Yeah.
I have been a fan of his since Encino Man.
Yeah.
And, I was still kind of feeling, the high from The Mummy, even though that was a couple years before.
Mm-hmm.
And George of the Jungle, which I have unironic love for. I quite like George of the Jungle. Um, and I'm trying to remember if it came out, what came out first? Monkeybone or, okay, Cool World came out first by
Yeah.
a decade. Oh my God.
He was in Cool World?
No, but this is how my brain works. The
Okay.
last time I saw the fusion of animation and real life was Cool World, and I kind of remember being disappointed in that. Like it wasn't. I remember. We'll get back to Monkey Bone. Sorry. I remember Cool World being pitched as like the next generation's like heavy metal. It was gonna be like kind of racy and edgy, and it was just kind of boring.
I think Cool World suffered from studio
It's possible.
involvement.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't done a deep dive on Cool
Yeah.
World because, like you, I was also disappointed because I had wanted heavy metal meets Roger Rabbit, and that was not what I got.
Right. But yeah, so I remember enjoying Monkeybone, but then not ever coming back to it, which I feel like on a stage, I don't know. I mean, how many times have you revisited the movie?
Probably too many to admit.
Nice.
I don't know if there's an award, but I'm probably I've probably helped funded the whole Monkeybone like franchise on accident throughout my life. So much so that I actually have a Monkeybone. Do you guys have any of these, or is it just me probably? But
That one I don't have.
it's pretty fun.
Wait, of course.
That's funny.
That explains. Yeah.
Yeah.
I rented a physical copy from Movie Madness.
Oh, good for you.
And yep, you get a big old monkey butthole.
I feel like that was so fun to find, like as a kid or as a teenager when this came out. You know what I mean? Like it's just, I mean, it's kind of like the whole film. The vibe is kind of like this, like crude, kind of like gross, almost like 90s spin on those cartoons like Ren and Stimpy, Rocket's Modern
Mhm.
Life, where
Mhm.
they're like so gross and you're like, as like a kid, you're like, am I supposed to watch this? Because it's like these jokes that they're slightly hitting because you're just starting to be aware of like your sexuality and everything like that. And it's like kind of taboo. So I feel like Monkeybone for me has always been a bit taboo.
That's fair.
Right.
It does have that because, I mean, Monkeybone is what he calls his penis.
Yeah, so I'm not far off. I mean, I'm
no.
blonde, but I'm in the stratosphere.
No, you're in the know. You're in the know on this one.
I would say that that final cut, that theatrical release, maybe takes away some of the information that lets you know, yeah, this is meant to be taboo. So you just kind of have the vibe
For adults.
without, especially if you're younger and you don't know all of those elements.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, this feels naughty, but I'm not sure why.
So
Kind of
when
a
you're
vibe.
like when you're a kid and you're watching certain episodes of like Animaniacs and you're laughing at certain things, but you can't figure out why your parents are really laughing at certain things.
That moment for me was basketball.
Basketball?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's a scene where they're in a locker room and they I don't think it's a penis, but the whole joke is that like they keep turning around and this metaphorical giant penis keeps swinging around on the bottom of the screen every time they turn around. But it wasn't actually a penis, and I laughed, and my dad was the one watching it. I had just walked into the room and I laughed, and my dad's like, "What are you laughing at?"
Oh no.
I was like, "Nothing.
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing inappropriate.
I don't know what's going on right
For
now."
me, I think it actually was the Animaniacs. It was the episode, doesn't matter what it is, but like Yakko says, like, we need a fingerprints. And Dot just lifts Prince up and he looks at the screen and goes, and then he just kind of leaves the screen.
It specifically is, we need to check the room for Prince. Dot comes back in the room with Prince. And she goes, found him. And Yakko goes, no. Fingerprints. And Dot looks at Prince,
Okay, yeah.
looks back at the camera and goes, I'm not touching that one.
Yeah, okay.
And then puts Prince down. It's like, that was an adult joke.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely missed that one as a kid.
Yes,
Yeah.
because I think Prince was into it.
Yeah.
The look on his face said, oh, go ahead.
Yeah.
Fingerprints.
Yes, Monkeybone is all of those things, all wrapped up.
Yeah, so it's written by Sam Hamm, and if that name sounds familiar, it's because Sam Hamm, I think, even in 2001 was. It's weird to think because almost over a decade went by, but he was still riding that Hollywood high of Batman and Batman Returns.
Yep.
He was the primary writer on that, and sometimes people forget, especially Batman was massive. Like pretty much everyone who was involved in the movie could kind of write their own check for the next decade.
Mm.
They did.
Then they did. Sam Hamm didn't help himself by the thing he did between Batman Returns and Monkeybone was Mantis, the series.
Oh, yep.
We won't go into Mantis, but it is. You can find it on YouTube or
Yes,
anywhere,
yeah.
but go find Mantis anyway.
But yeah, you put together some good thoughts to kind of guide us through talking about this.
Sure.
So
Do we need to start with a little synopsis?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, God, no, not me.
Oh, okay. Well,
Anastasia, do you have a quick synopsis for Monkeybone for anyone else?
No.
Okay,
You know
I
what was
can
a
do
fun
it.
game that I played was that when I was rewatching this recently and my family would come in just trying to explain like 2 minutes of Monkeybone plot going
Okay.
on. That was really fun. Like Bob Odenkirk is a surgeon who's trying to get these organs from Chris Kattan, who is not really Chris Kattan. He's actually playing Brendan Fraser, who is actually stuck in like the underworld downtown, let's say, like those kind of things. That was a fun game for me to play. But no, somebody else who can do this seamlessly, please.
So I'll give the basic kind of plot is that the main character, Stuart, played by Brendan Fraser, he's a cartoonist
On the cusp of success.
on the cusp of massive success with his character, his monkey character named Monkeybone. It's gonna be a series, it's gonna have merchandise, it's gonna have all the stuff that a lot of creative people can only dream about because then you can actually pay your bills.
Mhm.
And he wants to propose to his girlfriend, who is played by Bridget Fonda. who works at a sleep institute for
Mhm.
study.
Mhm.
Look, trust me, man, the story and the plot it's all over the place. But he falls into a coma after a crash, um, which puts him into like a freak show limbo.
Like a purgatory sort of.
Right.
Well, no, because that would mean he was dead. But
And
yeah,
he's
like
in,
a limbo.
he's in limbo because he's
Yeah.
invited by Hypnos, the god of sleep,
Mm-hmm.
into. By the way, it's always just called downtown. They
Mhm.
never. It's just downtown. And remember in Who Framed Roger Rabbit when they go to Toontown?
Mhm.
So downtown is a lot like that, but just like more fucked up and not wholesome.
Yep.
Yes.
It's not where Disney and Warner Brothers characters hang out. It's where, you know,
No, it's
Like,
it's Toontown by way of Tim Burton, kind of,
yeah.
or
I-
More, it's more Henry Selick. Like, and I'll bring up that point later
Mhm.
because downtown very specifically gets referenced in later Selick work.
Mm.
Yeah, and then I
But-
I don't want to go into too much. I don't want to say like I don't want to spoil this movie. I mean, the movie's 23, 24 years old. But explaining the synopsis makes you sound like someone who's bonkers.
There is a lot of double crossing that happens. There's antics. There are attempts at reunification. There are attempts at a happy ending, which we get there.
Yeah.
And then it a lot of the movie plays out like a cartoon.
Yeah, and the cast is really a trip because it's people that are either they have hit in that era a pinnacle of stardom. I'd say both Brendan Fraser and Bridget Fonda were both really hitting their stride.
So is Chris Kattan at this point.
So is Chris Kattan
Mhm.
because of SNL, right?
Yes.
But
and John
then,
Turturro was like, the
Oh,
Coen
yeah.
brothers golden boy. Like,
Yeah, he
Right.
was.
Oh Brother Where Art Thou, Big
Mhm.
Lebowski, Barton Fink. Like, he's like
I
a home
forget this
hitter.
movie's the same era as those. I don't know why in my brain all those movies came later. But no, you're right.
I need to rewatch Barton Fink.
Barton
so-
Fink's fantastic.
So great.
Yeah.
And then watch Blood Simple.
Yes.
Okay.
I love Blood Simple.
See, these are my people.
Right. And then, like we had mentioned, but like Bean had mentioned, Rose McGowan.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Whoopi Goldberg's in it,
Yep. Thomas
Uh,
Hayden Church.
and
Bob Odenkirk.
Bob
Bob
Odenkirk.
Odenkirk.
So it's kind of a Breaking Bad, Better Call Saul prequel
Oh, right.
because it also has
Giancarlo Esposito.
Giancarlo's in it.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's been a Giancarlo Esposito holiday for me because I fucking watched Trading Places a few days before Christmas, and he is inmate number 2 in the jail when Eddie Murphy gets booked for the first time. When he's like, "I can see, I can walk," and he's in the prison trying to scare the people. So
Mhm.
Giancarlo Esposito is criminal number 2, just standing behind Eddie Murphy. So sorry.
So it's 2001. Anyone who's anyone or is about to be someone.
A couple of the sales reps are from Mad TV during that era as well.
Ah.
Okay, that tracks.
Yep.
No, Stuart.
And then in terms of like technique and special effects, it has everything. It's got the live action,
Mhm.
it's got animation, it's got stop motion animation, it's got mocap with elaborate costumes, and there's a lot of practical as well as
Mhm.
Mhm.
digital effects. And for 2001, it's like almost seamless.
Yeah.
It's pretty
It's
solid. Yeah.
early,
Mhm.
early
It's
digital.
It's early digital, but it all comes together really, really nicely because they do the thing that smart, filmmakers do today is to do partial practical and then enhance it with the digital.
Mhm.
Yeah, for sure.
Cool.
Go ahead. Yeah.
I was just gonna say the two viewpoints that I want to hear most are like I want to hear Denise's having never seen this before and now seeing it, and then definitely Anastasia's who champions this film because I'm still in the this is better than I remember. It's still this is not a great movie, but but it is incredible. I still think it's was made in before anyone is ready for this. Like what
Yeah.
Selleck was trying to do, I think modern audiences are still not there.
Mm.
They're not there yet.
Well, I think. Well, we'll go into that.
But yeah,
Maybe
but yes, please, Denise, what did you think
for
of
your
the movie
first
for the
viewing.
first viewing?
I loved it. I will.
Did it scratch your little Invader Zim heart a little bit? A little bit of chaos.
Did.
Yeah.
It did. It was very chaotic, but also, kind of charming. I will say that I watched the Selleck audio commentary. So I did watch it
Oh.
twice
Mhm.
in the days before, in like last week basically. So I watched it once just to experience it, and then I saw that Selleck had done an audio commentary, and I was very curious about it. And I don't want to say he ruins it for me because I did enjoy it. I do see the flaws or like the holes in the narrative.
Mm-hmm.
But I still really enjoyed it. But knowing that there was a different concept or vision of what that movie started out as,
Mm-hmm.
I am very hungry for that. I
Mhm.
want that. But again, I still really enjoyed it, and would watch it again because it just has so many different elements, and they all tie in together really well. Even though, like one example that he gives is that there is a sort of a B plot with um, Hypnos wanting to like create more nightmares in the world,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
that's why they put Monkeybone in Stu's body. Spoilers, and sent them back out into the real world. That was never part of the original narrative, and Selleck says, I don't know that we really needed that, but I do see that like you do need some sort of antagonistic driver to
Mm-hmm.
move things forward and like add, I don't know, pressure to like resolving the monkeys in my body, and I'm in this loner body. um oh my god, and Chris Kattan, the physical even though like Chris Kattan era SNL and all the SNL movies that he's in are like sort of my peak era, like late teens, early 20s,
Mm-hmm.
I do also find him kind of annoying.
Sure.
Um, but that was probably his best work I've ever seen. Because it's all body, and then having to act like someone else that is not a character that he's always performed
Mm-hmm.
uh, was damn impressive.
Mhm.
And then Brendan Fraser acting like
Like a monkey.
monkey. Yes, and just like everything about him changes. He's this quiet sort of like doesn't want to be observed artisty
Yep.
type. Actually kind of reminds me of Matt Fraction.
Or the actual Brendan Fraser,
Yes.
who's very reserved and,
Yeah.
and private.
I
Yeah.
I do not want to be perceived.
Yes. But then when he has to act like someone else who loves attention, it's literally like there's someone else in his body.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
So the performances up and down.
Those two, the physical performances of both of those actors are what truly sell this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think when we were watching it, Mara commented, it's like it's the fact that it's the constant monkey noise vocalization that Brendan Fraser does. A little so subtle, and yet without it, like it just sells every single moment that
Mhm.
he's Monkeybone in Brendan Fraser.
Which is funny because he's been perfecting his monkey voice because he did monkey voices in Encino Man and he really does them in George of the Jungle.
Right.
Interesting. Yeah.
George about to take longest swing ever. Going to hurt a lot. Sorry. I
Cool.
adore that film. Sorry.
Well, fun side little tidbit. My husband, Richard Elfman, he has a cameo in George of the Jungle too.
What?
Oh my God, really?
Yeah, he's like playing his congas because
Oh.
his friend his like he had a friend on set, Stephen Boyum, who's like this wonderful director now, and he was like a stunt guy, and they were friends doing stunts together at like Stunts Unlimited, which is like a big place out here. And so he needed somebody, and he called Rick. So that's kind of funny.
That's kind of great. Yeah.
Weird.
Yeah, wild.
Yeah.
I mean, I say weird, but y'all are in Hollywood. That's the kind of weird that I would expect out of that city.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. No, it adds up. It adds up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like the Portland equivalent of that is like, yeah, I went to this party and there was this guy in a unicycle. Oh yeah, yeah. Did he have a blowtorch or a bagpipe? Blo- Both. How did you know?
Right.
It's fine. It's a
Tim.
thing. It's a thing.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely, for sure. So Anastasia, what was it like for you to kind of revisit it and beyond just a casual viewing, since you were kind of like viewing it to prep for the show? Did it resonate any different? Anything you caught on to or picked up?
Oh, I mean, it's so different, like having an agenda and like wanting to come up with like fun facts and do like a deeper look. I mean, I've always loved Henry Selick, obviously obsessed with Bridget. And the whole cast is really full of like comedy gems, you know, like everybody's so on and ready to play. Um, I was really impressed by a lot of the like behind the scenes that was included with the DVD. They literally built like a Frasier like mock-up like a what would it be called? Like a blue screen model.
Okay.
And it was just like crazy seeing all of the work that they put into all of these scenes with the stop motion, and then doing deeper research, knowing that Selleck, you know, he had the film, the studio got was kind of like afraid and not sure what to do. Like what you guys were saying, it's so ahead of its time. I mean, I feel
Hmm.
like if it was released now, it would be so appreciated. And I
Uh-huh.
feel like, you know, when it was released, the studio didn't know what to do because it didn't fit like any of like these solid, you know, romance or comedies or horrors. You know, it kind of like weaves in between.
Hmm.
Uh,
There really wasn't a lot of genre blending yet.
No, there was not.
That the I hate to say it this way, but like the average film goer was cool with.
yeah, and then when you look at the marketing and everything, it's kind of it's a little confusing who this story is for, you know, because it's like it's not really for kids and it's
Mm-mm.
not really for like, I mean, I guess it's like maybe pre-teens. There's like the stoner group there, but it's like it was marketed weird and then it wasn't promoted as well. And then they like it was kind of like it wanted to be like a Christmas release, it wanted to be like a July release. The releases kept on getting pushed and then they kind of just like released it and then tried to bury it, which was like kind of unfortunate because I think that it's one of these weird, chaotic um masterpieces, you know, that it's like what I was saying before that like a lot of people are aware of Monkeybone because it has like an A-list cast, but almost nobody that I talked to has actually seen the film.
Right.
So it you know, because it has like this kind of persona of being like a quote unquote like bad film, but when you watch it, it's not. It's really great. I mean, the value, the like the sets, everything, the production value is so high, and they put so much work in. Every scene, everybody is working so hard and giving everything, you know.
Hmm.
Yeah,
I
for
mean, I
yeah.
was talking to Bridget earlier today and she was talking about how she really wanted to make herself cry during those scenes. And I'm like, oh, yeah, you succeeded. I was crying.
Yeah, I mean, had so when you mentioned this to her, did she have any thoughts about it? I'm just curious. I mean, not we have to make it about her, obviously, but I was just like,
Oh, let's
you
make it
know, like,
about
hey,
her.
no, no, I don't mean it that way, but like, did you say like, hey, we're gonna do a dive on Monkey Bone? What do you know, it's been 23 years. What do you think?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, she's a very private person. And because
Sure.
she's family, I try to like, I try to bring the fangirl down a lot. Like, what do you mean? You're an actress? You've been in films?
had
I
no
had no
idea.
idea.
What?
Exactly.
I have
Like,
some friends who have to be that way. I'm like, oh yeah.
surprise, surprise. I'm not obsessed with you at all. It's fine. So yeah, I kind of just like shot her a text to see if she was open to like talking a little bit about it and let her know that, we do like these deep dives. You guys are so nice and let me pick out a horror film, my favorite ones to talk about. And basically I'm gonna paraphrase, but she said, I just asked her if she had any what'd I say? Uh, like little fun tidbits, right? So like when I
Mhm.
know somebody in a film, I try to like reach out so that I can get, a quote or something. And
Yeah.
she said that she had so much fun making the film, but sadly she doesn't remember everything specifically because it was so long ago. And that she remembers that she was trying to honestly and truly cry during the scene with Chris Kattan. She's probably referencing at the end.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
But it
Right.
was really difficult because he kept on cracking her up, which makes sense because he's hilarious. And then she says that she adores like working with Brendan and thought that he was brilliant, and that she loved Dave Foley too, and that she met Mark Ryden on the film, who did the art and things like that. And
I'm friends with his son.
oh, cool.
Yeah.
And so she commissioned Mark to do a painting of Henry's kids. And
Oh.
then,
Oh.
yeah, as like a wrap gift to Henry.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And then she said that Rose McGowan told her that she felt like her head was the size of a ping pong paddle. I don't know. I guess because of all of the close-ups. So anyways, that's from Bridget.
Huh. No, that's cool. Yeah. Neat.
That Mark Ryden art is amazing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I know Christian, when we watched it, he went down a whole rabbit hole of finding more of his art. And
So two things. One, Mark Ryden lives here in town.
oh,
Ooh, lucky, lucky.
yeah.
Two, when the Lincoln head pops up in the
Mhm.
movie to send when
The
people are being
Great
sent back, the Great
Emancipator.
Emancipator, and knowing that Mark Ryden's art is used in this, and he had some influence, the first thing that I thought of is I know that Mark like I've met Mark once. I've he had his bathroom redone over the past year so that it is all about Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah.
And so that was all I could think of was like, was that a nod to Mark Ryden? That it was just a weird little thought.
Wow.
But yeah.
Yeah, it's so interesting. Those inspired art scenes, like Bridget's character's nightmare, and the other scenes that we have in that kind of world, the nightmare world, let's say, they stand out so much in a good way
Hmm.
of feeling like a totally different film. Everything is so compact in that. Um, yeah, it was interesting. A lot of these like plots I completely forgot about. Like, I mean, I feel like as a viewer, we we get we kind of just like streamline past like Bridget and Brandon's like romance, and then all of a sudden, bam, we're like downtown. And then
Hmm.
there's
Mhm.
like where we find out more that like her work is like a sleep doctor and helping with dreaming, like that's crazy. That would have been nice in the beginning to set up
And that
some
she's
characters.
she has basically found the physical solution that is nightmares,
Yeah.
The nightmare
Okay.
juice.
nightmare juice.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a lot of subplot going on in downtown that makes for a very rich backstory that we don't entirely get in this movie.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's like a retroactive story, like their whole relationship, everything. Oh, my lights are kind of flickering, so hopefully I
Uh-oh.
don't get caught.
Oh.
Like I
Oh
don't.
my. Okay.
Well,
If I get
we'll know what happens if you
cut
do.
off, yeah.
Yeah.
There's like a massive windstorm in LA right now, so sorry. But what was I saying? It's like a retroactive
Yeah.
explanation,
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
that happens throughout the film. Like we're like huddled with Bridget's friends and she's explaining what she does. It's like, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I think that I mean, like we know from deleted scenes and the commentary that a lot of stuff got cut for time.
Mm-hmm.
A lot
Mhm.
of the stop motion stuff got taken out that helps sort of explain more of what's going on a bit more clearly. The movie doesn't not make sense without those things, but it getting viewers to that place does come off a little bit clunkier. Um, Part of me wishes there was a version that had way less of the live action stuff because
Okay.
it's not nearly as interesting, um, unique.
I guess I would ask, what do you consider the stuff in downtown live action?
No, sorry.
Okay.
The regular live action stuff
Like
versus the stuff
the
that
waking
is
world. Okay.
yeah, yeah, everything that's happening in the real world is that's fine. But
Sure.
anybody can make a movie about oh, like this person has taken control of X and is going to sell out on my behalf, which is a thing that I would not have done. Um, but how many movies do you see about being in this like comatose underworld where everyone's just sort of like waiting for their turn to either come
Yep.
back or move on, and you have to grapple with the Reapers and
Right.
And the design on those, again, amazing.
mhm,
Like, I really do think that if Monkeybone were created and released now,
mhm,
we would get something less of a cult movie and something of a very reachable to a lot of young audiences, but still unnerving.
mhm. And
Um,
you would get a whole story, an
yeah,
entire adventure, with a conflict and resolution that all happens in that downtown and underworld sort of
Yeah.
yeah.
place.
Because again, like they had a hard time marketing it in 1992,
Mhm.
or I'm sorry, not
91 or
1990,
2001.
2001.
2001.
They didn't know what to market it as. Nowadays, they're like, oh yeah, just release it. What do we market it as? Are you kidding? Put a clip of it on the internet. That's all we need to
Done.
do.
Yeah.
It will it will find its audience and we won't have to do shit.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, there's pros and cons to both of that. I mean,
Yeah.
I am glad that it was made when it was made. I feel
Yeah.
like right now we would not be getting the tangible downtown or the tangible characters and costume and things like that.
Mm,
I feel like it would be all very like fast paced, let's just get it done and shot. And I feel like they
yeah.
really took their
Mhm.
time to build these worlds, to do the stop motion, because there is a whole group of fans, like probably like us, especially like I would say for me for sure, that appreciate that art form. And I don't want to skip ahead and do an AI version or a CGI version. I want
No.
the
No.
practical stop motion, and I appreciate that. I appreciate the artists that devote their life to that, and I appreciate the performance that they invoke from those puppets.
Right.
And so I
Mhm.
feel like if it was done today, I feel like studios would be so on top of them. I feel like that was kind of in not to be silly, but in a limbo area where the studios were kind of still letting artists do a little bit,
Mm,
like leaving them alone, letting them do it. I mean, right when that was happening, Henry Selick was just like coming off of like James and the Giant Peach. He
Right.
yep.
was just like trying to scramble and keep his shop, keep his creators all together and working on a project. So he was trying to usher in a new project, and he got the monkey bone and everything. So I just feel like I'm glad that it happened then.
Yeah, I see your point, and I largely I agree, especially if it was still being distributed by Universal. So that was who it was, right?
Yes.
Universal or Fox?
Fox.
I think it's
Oh,
Fox.
20th Century Fox. Yeah, you're
20th
right.
century, yeah.
But like these days, this would have been award bait from A24.
Right.
I can maybe see that, yeah.
I mean,
Or
we did get the Del Toro Pinocchio a couple years ago, and that is a full feature-length stop motion film.
I was just thinking in my head, what if Henry Selick and Guillermo del Toro
Had a
paired
meeting.
up, paired
Do you
together and did a
Do
thing?
you think we can get them together?
Let's do it.
Do you
Us
think they're- do
personally,
you think
the
they're-
four of us, maybe.
would their egos work? I mean, I couldn't say that. I don't know the personality of either of them, so
But would they work as creatives? Possibly, if
Yeah.
if the project was right.
maybe that's how we finally get at the Mountains of Madness.
Hmm.
Then.
Going back to the subplot of the downtown.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that would be fun to see expanded upon in any other format of storytelling would be like the other comatose victims that are stuck in downtown and have been for some of those people centuries.
Right.
Right.
Attila the Hun, Lizzie Borden, Jack the Ripper, Edgar Allan Poe, Stephen King.
That's what I was actually thinking when you mentioned studios now would release a clip to make it go viral. And for me, it would 100% be in the prison cell where Stephen King says he needs a nightlight. Edgar Allan Poe calls him a pussy.
I'd almost forgotten about that scene because I missed it in the first
Played
watch.
by Edgar Allan Poe the Fourth.
Yes.
Who claims he is a descendant of Edgar Allan Poe, the actor.
That's crazy.
Never verified.
Yeah. But that's the thing that I'm like, that, like you're talking about the mythology of this world and that they've been built that they didn't expound on in the movie, but it's clearly theirs. Like,
Right. And
wait, you're telling me that all of these people were replaced by figments of their own imagination, and those were what went out into the world and created terror?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
I fucking
okay.
love it.
Yeah.
And that's how you build a franchise, which is what studios want.
Uh-huh.
So that is a route that, like a side route that one could take in order to try to make something like Monkeybone again, like a passion project like that.
Mhm.
And still get in under the radar of, these big ticket franchise concepts. You just got to get the first one out there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a little confusing though. Like it was like these mass murderers and then these entertained like writers. Like why are they all together?
Which makes sense because so like Lizzie Borden and Jack the Ripper killed people, and that
Okay.
surprised people locally.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Stephen King and Edgar Allan Poe's writing is known internationally, and are giving people nightmares across their readership.
About people who kill people.
Right.
Or monsters. Yeah.
Right.
Monkeybone was going to be an international animated series, or was at the time, and Monkeybone in Stu's body was going to be able to influence the public by seeding animation with things that would give people nightmares.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, I got the progression of how hypnosis concept was going to work. I didn't get that when I first watched this movie. Watching it this time, I'm like, oh yeah, all of this makes sense. I totally get his plan and why he's doing it.
It
Yeah.
took me two playthroughs to really put that together
Yeah.
fully.
It is why I'm like, no, this movie is more maligned than it has any right being. Like, it's
Yeah.
horrible scores on Rotten Tomatoes and things like that. Like, nope, all of those are wrong. You have to watch this twice. You have to watch it twice and then go, oh, wait a minute.
And I think you also have to go in without expectations.
Yeah.
It's not just a comedy. It's not a rom-com. It's not just a horror or a cartoon. It's not meant to just be like wacky, zany. It's pretty complex. There's a lot going on.
Yep.
Yeah, it has so many facets happening. within the plot, the subplot, the live action, the underworld, the downtown, I mean.
Yes.
Mhm.
Right.
And that's why I feel so like different ways about it. Where I'm like, I think if you shaved off some of these elements and really spent more time on these, like that would be a even better film.
Yep.
So
But
is this one of those movies then that didn't do very well, and like a writer or a showrunner could pitch it like we're gonna take the movie and we're gonna pitch it to like Apple TV as a 10 episode series. Like we're gonna, because they'll take movies that were like successful or not and turn them into shows that are so much better than the movie ever was. Like for
Hmm.
like an example for me, even though I like the movie, I think the show 12 Monkeys was vastly superior to the movie 12 Monkeys.
maybe if you wanted to keep all of the elements of the original film, then yes, I think spreading it out over 10 episodes would be nice because you get to spend that much more time on each element and flesh it out really well,
Right.
rather than sort of kind of conveying a lot of things through context or little expo dumps.
Right.
Yeah, like a television, if you took this into the 10 episode television format, we would have 2 episodes of seeing Stu work through his anxiety
Mhm.
by creating Monkeybone in the first place.
And maybe also like meeting Doc. I forget what the character's real for Laura?
Julie.
Julie.
Meeting Julie at the sleep clinic and sort of, outlining,
Yep.
why how it all started.
hmm
Right.
Yeah, that
You
would
would
be
have
nice.
that chance. Mhm.
Yeah.
I feel like too that we would get like I don't think I thought this the first time I watched this movie, but watching it this now, I didn't get enough of John Turturro as Monkeybone. Like I wanted more.
Yeah.
It felt like all of his interactions with Stu felt a little disjointed, and I think that's just from learning how to work with something that's not there.
Mhm.
Like everyone who's worked on green screens has always talked about, like, yeah, I was just talking to a ping pong ball
Right.
that
Yeah.
was suspended in the air. Because it, like, I know it's John Turturro, but it takes a minute for me to go, I don't hear it in there, but later, like you start getting more and more as it goes along, and
Mhm.
I wanted more of that.
Mm.
And I think if it had been a 10 episode show, we would have gotten a lot of John Turturro as.
Well, that's, I mean,
Monkeybone.
I think it would work now that way.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Um,
You would
'cause
also
they
get
could
a
still
lot
play
more.
Monkeybone.
You would also get a lot more Julie, who I think gets the shortest shrift in
Yeah.
terms of who she is and why she's important, aside from being Stu's
girlfriend.
potentially affiance.
Right. Yeah.
I think that's the topic of women in film. Is
Trying to move the story forward, right?
yeah,
Like
yes, being
asking,
used as a
let
plot
me ask you
device.
a question so you can
Yeah.
tell your whole story.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I have some people who are like, yeah, we need to have actresses not say the word what. And I get so offended because I'm like, that's like half of my lines. Do you want to like erase my character? I have to be able to say what? Could you explain?
Fucking rude.
I saw a
It's the
clip.
worst.
I saw a clip recently of Reese Witherspoon at some awards program where she was talking about how there is one line of dialogue that when she sees it in the script, she's like, no. It's where any woman, if a woman in a script will, when things are bad, will then go look at the male character and go, well, what do we do now? And she points out, it's like, what women do you know that have ever turned to the man in any dire situation and actually asked that in real life? None.
No. Yeah, none.
Because they already know what to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's followed by like 20 clips of other movies where the woman goes, well, what do we do now? Like, okay, that's thanks for illustrating that point, but oof.
Mhm,
Now I don't want to watch that.
mhm.
No, it's crazy to think about like Bridget's character, Julie, like her version of what's happening in the
Mhm.
film. It's like her boyfriend has success now, and all of a sudden he is like in a coma, and then she's like wanting to use like this I don't know. It's not like nightmare juice for her, is it? I don't think so.
I
It,
think
it is.
like
Is
that.
I
it?
think so,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
because
she
I think one of the study partners is like, so it's basically nightmare juice.
yes.
Oh,
And
okay, yeah.
Because she
and-
explained it in a more complex way.
and the goal was to wake him up using nightmares.
And then she like pumps him full of that. And then when he
Mhm.
wakes up, he's like deranged and weird. And she's probably thinking, like, oh my God, what have I done? You know,
Mhm.
and feeling guilty. And then he's like totally being the opposite of everything that he stood for. You know, he's
Yep.
wanting to basically sell out and do all of this commercial stuff with his 6-part season. You know, like six episodes. Okay.
6 episodes on Comedy Central.
Yeah, and McDonald's is ready to like, you know, get the action figures going and the Happy Meals. It's just like crazy. And then all of a sudden a corpse comes up and says that that's actually her boyfriend. It's just like what is happening to her?
And
Or Bridget.
I
There
wonder
was
how.
a-
Go ahead.
Hold on, sorry.
Yeah.
There was one line between Bridget and Chris Kattan where he's, you know, like trying his best to like be sincere and explain like what's going on and that it's really Stu in this dead body that's running around town.
Rotting.
And and like something gives her pause and she turns back around and she's like, "Don't lie to me," or like tell me the truth now. I'm like, that's such a weak line. Come on. I mean, it's a small stupid little thing, but I'm like, don't lie to me. Or if you already think this is nonsense or not true, saying don't lie to me to this weirdo standing in front of you.
This rotting, stinking weirdo.
So like they threw in this sort of like dumb thing to say, and it sort of underpins like actual moments that work really well where you can see her intuit how it's really him. There's the dog, which is kind of a popular one, I guess you could say.
Always
Like
trust the dog.
dogs always know. Which would have worked better if they'd given that more time in the beginning. They did establish that the dog didn't trust him, but like they could have spent more time on that. But the ring is the moment where she knows it's really him. On top of him being as sincere as he can be. So there was definitely some moments where like her performance could have really made the scene, but they undercut her a little bit with some lines that are just not so great.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's the character, so she is definitely serving the character that she was given. You know what I mean? So like
Yes.
that's not I don't feel like that's like a Bridget thing. That's like the
Oh,
writing, I would
right.
say. You know,
Yes,
it's like
that's what
servicing
I'm-
the plot. You know,
Right.
but yeah, I would have liked to see a version where she was a stronger figure, which we know Bridget can do. I don't know if you guys have seen like Lake Placid or like any of her other incredible
Point of
films.
No
Like,
Return.
yeah, she's
Single white
super
female.
solid. I'm also very biased.
Fucking Lake Placid though.
Mm.
What a gem of a film.
I
That one
just
haven't seen.
rewatched
I
that.
might
It's
have
so
to-
good.
Lake Placid's
Yeah.
amazing.
Okay.
Oh, it's so much fun.
Yes,
That's
don't
cat.
get into trouble with your sister-in-law. I
Giant
did
owl
want
kitten,
to
right?
convey that,
Everybody's
like,
in timeout.
her performance was great. She did the best with what she was given. It would have been nice to see her to have seen any actress in that role being given a little bit more.
Sorry, I hit the wrong button. I went to mute myself and I hit.
You hit
Mute-
the fun
I hit
soundboard.
I hit the soundboard. Sorry.
Mute Anastasia.
No. There's an actual soundboard, and sorry, we got some funky music there in the background.
Oh no.
Sorry about that.
I feel like do we want to take this one listener question?
From Norm?
Yeah.
Oh yes.
To kind of talk about before we end for the night.
Sure.
'Cause we're getting close to time.
That's true. Yeah, we
Yeah.
are.
And it's a fun one. So Norm from Texas asks, question: you get a chance to remake Monkeybone. Who's your cast? And this is a question for everybody in the room.
Ugh.
I had not thought about this.
Well,
I'm going to start off with one. Hypnos is still played by Giancarlo Esposito.
Yep. Perfect.
I don't
That-
see a reason at all to change that casting.
He can just be that much more sinister.
Yeah.
because here's the thing. I think a remake of Monkeybone could actually work into the commentary that the first Monkeybone was trying to make. Because feels like this was the beginning of the era where studios were really, where CEOs and board members began to feel like they were more important in the creative process
Mm-hmm.
than the money process. So weirdly, I think you could do a commentary where you just bring everyone back and you tell, like, that was the movie adaptation of Monkeybone, but here is now what really happened.
Oh, jeez.
And you just clean up your script a little bit and you just kind of like you tighten it a little bit, but then you just kind of tell the same story again. But now certain elements reference the movie, the first Monkeybone.
Oh,
I don't know.
that's
Yeah,
Interesting,
incredibly meta.
interesting.
it's super meta, and its biggest downfall is that it requires you to know about the first Monkeybone.
Yeah.
Mm,
I
yeah, that would be a tough sell.
I'm having a hard time answering this question largely because the first two things, if I were to remake Monkeybone, name two actors that have that ability to be that have that physicality of their performance that Brendan Fraser and Chris Kattan do in this. Like Brendan Fraser is playing opposite of who he is as a person
Right.
and is playing a cartoon monkey in a human body, and
Mm.
Chris Kattan is playing Brendan Fraser.
The problem
In
is
a-
I know what Hollywood would give us. They'd give us Dwayne Johnson and Kevin Hart.
But neither one of them could do that.
I know.
Neither
I'm,
one
I'm,
of
I'm
them.
thinking like an executive.
Sure.
Well, that's not the
No, I
question.
know.
Don't think like an example.
Okay,
Like
right.
I can't think of.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say with the Johnson and Hart reference, I would say that's kind of what we got with the sequel-ish kind of Jumanji, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like they both have that talent to do that. So I don't think that they couldn't. And I feel like we have a version of that, which I thought was really good for like a type of like sequel or not really I guess it is a sequel.
It is. It was
I kind
meant
of
to be a
enjoyed
sequel.
I enjoyed it.
Right. Yeah. No, it's fun.
I think I enjoyed the second one just a little bit more, but that was largely because Aquafina was playing Danny DeVito, which I loved so much. Oh my God, that was so good.
There is this actor. His name. He might be a little too old for this character now, but his name is Jake Johnson. He was on a sitcom with Zoe Deschanel called New Girl, and he's done a lot of other like sort of more indie comedies, the kind of comedies that are not just funny. Eventually, they get depressing.
Okay.
Because that's the kind of guy he is. Like he is technically a comedic actor.
Who are you saying? Jake Johnson?
Jake Johnson.
Oh, he's in Stumptown.
Yes.
Yeah, he's
Oh,
the
hey.
bartender.
Yeah, he's the bar. I forgot about that.
He's fun to watch on screen.
Yes,
Yeah,
and
he's great.
and he can really play like a darker, moodier character,
Right.
which is not what Stu Miley is in the original Monkeybone, but like you know how they always update characters and make them grittier and stuff. So I could see him, playing Stu, and then he has the ability to get really silly and be more physical with his performance. So that would be one for me.
That's interesting.
I have another one that popped in my head
Mhm.
because we haven't seen them act together, and you see their chemistry as friends, and I think it could work, is Oscar Isaacs and Pedro Pascal
Interesting.
as playing off each other.
Yeah.
That could be kind of fun.
I don't know why I didn't put this together before. You said Stu Miley.
Hmm.
That means if you take his first initial and his last name, he's Smiley.
S. Smiley. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, that hurts my brain. See, there's
There's a
much-
lot of these in
There
here,
is
by the
too
way.
much to this movie.
Yeah.
I can't recast it. I can't. I did want to mention. So have any of you seen Wendell and Weird
No.
on
Mhm.
Netflix?
Yes,
You have.
absolutely. Yes.
Did you recognize? So watching Monkeybone, downtown is a big giant hand. So is hell in Wendell and Weird. Henry Selick reuses that set concept in Wendell and Weird. Wendell and Weird is all stop motion.
So Wendell and Wild.
Wendell and Wild, thank you.
Do I need to finally break down and get Netflix again?
Maybe just for this.
Get it for a month, watch all of the things that you need to watch, turn it off again.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Yeah, that was another one that was kind of like swept under the rug and not really promoted. Poor like Henry
Shocking.
Selick. He keeps on getting the like short end and he's so brilliant. I can't stand it.
When that at my old job we had that on TV to
Mhm.
have in the background, and I knew nothing about it, and I looked up and I'm like, oh, this is stop motion. This is stop motion that I wonder if Key and Peele know that they're using their likeness. And then I turned on the volume. I'm like, oh, it's because it is Key and Peele. Cool. It's Keegan Michael Key and Jordan Peele
Right. Yeah.
are
Yeah.
are Wendell and Wild.
Hmm.
Yeah, and they helped develop the story as well.
Yep.
They worked really closely with Selick.
Yep.
I was gonna
it
say
is-
they've got producer credits here.
Oh
So
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I think it's a Monkey Paw production.
it is.
Yes.
But yeah, where they are demons, they live in a town that is the giant hand.
Ah.
'Cause
Yeah.
It's when
Like
downtown
downtown.
closes up and opens up again. I'm like, I didn't clock that. America's the one that clocked that. She's like, wait a minute. It's like, that's the same set that's in Wendell and Weird. And I'm like,
Lore.
oh, well, he did direct that. So yes. She's like, good. I'm glad it's like, it is a brilliant set. I'm glad he's getting to reuse it somewhere. Because it is. Like, downtown is a brilliant set piece.
That's cool.
It's absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, and it's interesting when they were working, they were doing concepts for how they wanted to approach this film because, you know, like obviously it was a version of a graphic novel called like Darktown, I believe.
Mhm.
And so in the beginning, I was reading that they wanted to do a majority of the film in downtown and have it all be stop motion and with puppets and stuff. And then they kind of came up with a compromise to save on time and just like, I guess probably budget as well. They decided to make it kind of like a mixture of like, it's like gods and then like your imagination. So like Fraser's his like early drawings you see as like baggage, you know, and he digs in and then you see those forms come into life and we've got like Doug Jones as the Yeti.
The Yeti, yeah.
We've got Mike Starr as the bull in the
Oh,
bar.
yeah. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Which is crazy because I actually kind of lightly know him. I wanted to interview him a few years ago, and I didn't even realize that was him until I did this deep dive. Because you know he has like that bull CGI
Oh, yeah.
head that actually they started. It was supposed to be a practical head, and then they didn't get the fluid movement that they wanted out of it, and so they scanned it, and it became like a CGI version.
Oh,
Ooh, okay.
it totally played as if it were a practical effect with a CG mouth.
Yeah, doesn't it? It
It does.
flows really organic, I think.
Wow.
for that kind of like early CGI.
Huh.
Damn it, that's kind of cool.
Now I'm gonna watch it again. Now I'm gonna get to the point where I'm gonna have to seek out physical copies just so I can watch it whenever I want to.
Maybe.
Do it. We're pro physical.
I mean, streaming services can't take away the DVDs that you buy.
I mean, they can try.
Not yet they
But
can.
my cold, dead hands.
Don't give them any ideas.
Mm.
Right.
Oh, I'm sure they're working on it.
Yeah.
They already have those ideas. I want to give them other ones.
Right.
I want to give them nightmares. Can I give them nightmares?
I mean, talking about a different version, it's interesting when you do research and you read that Selleck originally wanted to cast Ben Stiller as the lead, but Stiller had his own comedy writing group that wanted to rewrite a lot of his dialogue, and Selleck was very loyal to the original writer, and so he decided not to cast Stiller as the lead. But that's kind of an interesting thing. And also, I think they were reading Nicolas Cage to be
Oh, wow.
Stu,
Yes.
which is
that's
interesting.
Very.
And also for Monkeybone, they wanted to go after Paul Rubens, which is another interesting choice instead of John Turturro.
That could have been
So,
really interesting.
thoughts, yeah.
That would have felt pretty spot on, I think.
Yeah. Huh.
Yeah. All interesting.
Yeah.
Wild.
Whew.
Well, I feel like
I feel like that's a kind of a
definitely-
good spot to wrap it up. It seems like we've all kind of enjoyed revisiting or visiting for the first time.
Yeah.
I
Monkeybone.
feel like we got in the deep end of the pool on this.
Yeah, I need to go to Movie Madness and rent the DVD because I just rented it online.
Yeah.
So
the
all the behind the scenes commentary sound fascinating.
Yep.
there's behind the stop motion stuff. There's deleted scenes, extended scenes,
Mhm.
and then the commentary. The commentary is great.
Yeah, it's really great.
Cool. Well, Anastasia, as always, thank you so much. And I want to keep seeing Bloody Bridget keep taking this festival circuit by storm, which is awesome.
Yes, thank you so much. And thanks for letting me pick Monkeybone. Henry Selick has like 15 plus minutes of cut footage of animation that he wants to release a director's cut. And so I'm kind of like, I love him as a creator, and I'd love to see him release his vision, his like director's cut of Monkeybone one day. So I'm hoping to champion that. And
Well-
he has a lot of other really interesting animation stories like Shadow King. I don't know if you guys know anything about that.
No.
It's really wonderful about a young boy who has very long, it's kind of about like disabilities, and so he has very long fingers that he can do shadow puppets, and it's just this really interesting story that I think Disney had control of, and then they kind of like shelved it, and so there's all of this fun animation that they worked so hard on, and it's not released, and it makes me so mad because
Oh,
it's like
Yeah, I
yeah.
wanna see
it's
that.
such a wonderful, supportive, inclusive story that I think the world needs to know about. So I always like to shine light on Henry Selick. I think that all of the creators that he works with are brilliant, but he gets overshadowed sometimes, and he's brilliant on his own. And I'd also say that like a lot of the people he works with, like Tim Burton, are very inspired by him. And you can see
Yeah.
that in his own work. That, I don't think he needs those partners. He's so fantastic on his own. And so thanks for letting me like chat about him. And there's so much more that's like just half of my notes.
No, this-
We can always just come back another time and do just a general Henry Selick conversation.
Oh, don't threaten me with a fun time. I love this
That'd be
stuff.
fun. Yeah. Cool. Well, Anastasia, thank you so much. And I think with that, I am Aron Duran.
I'm Binarita.
And I am Cable Hashitani.
And I think I'm Anastasia Elfman.
You sure are. And we will talk to everybody later.
2
That's the
weeks.
New Year thing. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.